I am Gary Parrish. Welcome back. CBS Sports Eye on College Basketball podcast, where we sometimes discuss camel fighting dodo birds in leaky black. Matt Norlander is here with me, and today we are continuing our Summer Shootaround series with the first of 3 auction episodes. Special shouts to everybody who bid. It's always nice to raise money for the wonderful people at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Incredible place, great staff, wonderful patients. Thrilled to send some money their way with the help of you guys. Let me tell you how we're doing this today. I know what we're talking about. I'm prepped and ready to go. Norlander is flying blind. I don't know why he likes to do this to himself, but he enjoys doing this to himself.
I got no idea.
He has no idea what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask him a series of questions. The answer to these questions will guide him to our school. But he only gets one guess for every answer, every question. And if he misses, we move on to the next question. Norlander, you've played this game before. You know how to play this game, don't you?
I have. And for the next one, I've been told that we have 2 high major winners and a mid-major winner. So I'm gonna be informed on who won the mid-major one, and we'll have that coming in the feed soon. And we'll reach out to that coach and get a little intel. But for the next one, for the other one that won the bidding at the high major level, we'll also do this, but have a little bit of twist on the next one. GP, out of curiosity, how many questions do you think it's going to take me here on this episode today before I get to school?
I think you'll get it by 6.
Wow, it's going to take as many as 6. Okay, let's do it.
Question number 1.
Okay. Play along at home as you watch and listen, by the way.
Actually, I don't know if these are questions. They might just be statements. You'll figure it out. You ready?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
The school we're talking about today has never made the Final Four of the NCAA tournament. Can you name that school?
I like it. And again, I can't ask GP. The next one we do, I'm going to ask GP the questions. Has never made, I know it's in a power conference.
Yes.
Has never made the Final Four.
So that means it's not Michigan State. They played in a Final Four.
We also did Michigan State on this year's shoot-around, so it would not qualify, obviously. What the hell? Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech is an incorrect answer. Second statement that I'll somehow turn into a question.
Okay.
This school has only made the NCAA tournament once since 2016. Can you name the school?
I think once since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about once in the past 10 years. There's not that many. We're going to be talking. How about this? Should I just pre-ding myself here? I'm going to pre-ding myself. We're going to be talking about Josh's Butler Bulldogs.
Butler is an incorrect answer. As noted, this school has never been to a Final Four, but it does have a coach. It does have a former coach who has coached in a Final Four.
As the head coach?
This school has never played in the Final Four, never made the Final Four, but it does have a former coach who has coached.
Am I allowed to ask for clarity? Was this coach the head coach of a Final Four program, or was he on a staff that made the Final Four?
No, head coach. He was a head coach of a Final Four program, but not until he left this school.
Let me make sure I'm understanding you correctly here. The coach that's at the school now that we're about to talk about momentarily.
No. The school we're about to talk about has never played in a Final Four.
Right.
But they do have a long list of former coaches.
Right.
And at least
that
one of these former coaches
subsequently went on to coach in a Final Four after he coached at the school.
That's correct.
Well, I'm going to have to say we're talking about... No, they've made it more than once in the past 10 years. We are talking about... He wouldn't qualify. Can I get this in 3? GP, this is good stuff here. We're talking about the Syracuse Orange.
That's an incorrect answer. This school is in a power conference. The school's in a power conference, but it has never won that conference's regular season championship or its conference tournament championship.
Never won either. This specific conference.
This specific school in this specific conference.
This is beautiful by you, by the way. See, he wouldn't. No. Never won the conference's regular season or postseason. One bid in the past 10 years. One bid in the past 10 years is throwing me. GP. Are we talking about... that makes me want to think the Big East, but I don't think any school applies here in the Big East. I will say we're talking about... We're clearly talking about the Boston College Eagles.
That's an incorrect answer. This school has never played in a Final Four, but it does have a former coach who coached in a Final Four, and it also has its current head coach played in a Final Four.
Oh, you rascal. Current head coach played in a Final Four.
School has never been to a Final Four, but it has a former coach who has coached in Final Fours, and its current head coach played in a Final Four.
Current head coach played in a Final Four. Famous last words, but I think this eliminates everyone from the ACC. Once in the past 10 years, this school has made the NCAA tournament. Coach played in a Final Four. And this is a high major program. I'm getting angry.
Yeah, it's going to drive you nuts when I say it.
I'm getting mad.
You're going to go, how did I not just get that?
Played in a Final Four. I know. Here's what I love about this. I know many of you listening right now screaming the school's name. I understand that. That's part of the fun of this. Once in the past 10 years, played in a Final Four. GP, this is a beautiful, beautiful pull by you. I am going to say UCF, but I don't think that's right.
Incorrect answer. This is the sixth question. This is where I predicted you would get it.
Yep. Oh, I think I got it. Can I guess it now before you give it?
Sure.
My guess is Colorado.
Incorrect answer.
Damn it.
The fourth leading scorer in this program's history is named Sam, and he was drafted by the Memphis Grizzlies.
The fourth leading scorer in the program's history's first name is Sam, and he was drafted by the Grizzlies? The fourth leading scorer in the... Sam, who scored a ton... I don't that drafted by the Grizzlies. I can't. This is a power conference team. This is a power conference team.
Power conference.
It's the fourth league.
You got to get it with the next one. Number 7. I got to get. You got to get it here.
When you like the name, when you say Sam. That got drafted, I think Decker. It's not Wisconsin.
It's not Wisconsin.
And I think Sam Merrill, and it's not Utah State.
Mm-mm.
So what Sam is not coming to mind here? Okay, or I'll say Nebraska.
Incorrect answer.
Gosh,
Next statement.
This is atrocious.
This school, in my opinion, but I think it's a fact. This school is on the wrong end of the most famous crossover in conference tournament history.
It's on the wrong end of the most famous crossover in what?
Conference tournament history.
That's Wake.
Oh, listen, I would disagree.
Okay, what are we talking about here? The most famous crossover?
In conference tournament history, I think at least.
Come on, man. You don't... Really? Now you got me thrown. I don't see how that's not Randolph Childress in 95, and I thought that was against Carolina. But you're not saying it's Randolph Childress. Oh, I got it. It's Pitt. We're talking about Pitt.
Today we are talking about the Pitt Panthers. Shouts to Gary McGee. March 10th, 2011. It was a bad day to be a Gary because you got crossed over by Kemba Walker. Jeff Capel was the coach at Pitt. He played in the 1994 Final Four for Duke. Sam Young is the fourth all-time leading scorer at Pitt. Drafted
I had no memory of him with the Grizzlies.
Ben Howland, former coach at Pitt, coached in 3 Final Fours at UCLA.
Damn, Matt. Just,
you know what?
Hey, well done by you, because it's more fun if it takes me a longer way to get there. Pitt fans, can't wait to talk up your team here. Pitt did not even flare my radar as we were doing.
All right. So listen, I'm going to let you catch your breath for a second.
Yes.
All right. You
Yes.
catch your breath, regroup.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the Pitt Panthers next. But first, let's get a word from our partners.
Big Ten on CBS brings us East and West. Here's what we've been waiting for, partner. Jerome to the corner, and it's a touchdown.
That's a big-time play.
When everything comes together, CBS Sports brings you Big Time, Saturdays on CBS, streaming on Paramount+.
Let's talk about the Pitt Panthers. Recap it first. Finished 13-20 last season, 5-13 in the ACC. That represented 15th in the conference. So let's stop here for a second. You can Google it and find it. Jeff Capel was perceived to be on the hot seat last season and then turned in a 5-13 conference record. Most people don't survive that. If you are publicly believed to be on the hot seat and you finish 15th in your conference, you usually don't get another season. But Jeff is back, despite losing 7 more games than he won and finishing 15th in the ACC. The athletic director, Alan Green, has sort of explained it by saying he wanted continuity and desired to see what Jeff could do with a general manager in place and helping. There's also obviously a money component. Shane Brett is the Pitt fan who won the auction, who made this possible. And among the questions he wanted me to ask you is, what is the real reason you believe Jeff Capel is still the coach of the Pitt Panthers?
Because I would have to pull up. I want to say it was 15 million, just close to that.
Yeah.
This was the reason that he's still the coach. Because I remember basically by the time we got to early February, earlier this year, there was a lot of just discussion. Is Pitt going to actually do this? You know, they haven't been able to get real traction under Capel. They made the tournament a few years ago, I want to say as a double-digit seed, and that was their only one. Let me fact check myself in real time here, GP, because I know they made the tournament the year that if they didn't make it, he was almost certainly going to be fired. It was 23. They made it as an 11 seed. They made it the second round, and then they followed it up the year after with 22 wins. But it just has not gone well. But they ultimately did not have the funds or couldn't stomach reason to raise enough money to get him out, because his buyout was just extremely large, well north of 10 million. So that is the reason why he is still here. Jeff is very well liked in the profession. I'd say he's pretty well liked by folks across the media as well. But everyone, like even Jeff, who is, I don't know him exceedingly well, but in conversations here and there over the years, I find him to be a very grounded guy, a self-aware person, and he knows the score, he knows the deal, and this is going to be really feels like the last stand. Gotta make the tournament. I mean, we have a 76 team tournament now. We just published earlier this week, our candid coaches, GP had the byline on that one about, do you feel like coaches have more or less or about the same amount of job security in the 76 team tournament era? And approximately 81% of those coaches that we talked to said it was going to be the same or less job security. And Capel is going to be the prime example of that this season. If Pitt, with 8 more opportunities, 8 more slots to get into the tournament, doesn't do it, there will be no wiggle room left. His buyout will drop down. I don't have it right here in front of me. Don't even know if it's public knowledge what that number would be on April 1, presumably April 1 of 27 GP. Got to get to the tournament. If it's not there, there's going to be a coaching change. And even then, Capel or other coaches might fall into that category of, well, sometimes moving forward, getting into the tournament ain't going to save you. If you're playing on that first Tuesday or Wednesday and you're in, one of those tips and you don't even get to the field of 64 proper, then you might not even hold on to your job. But the money is the reason why he is still there.
I think getting to the tournament in 2027 would save him. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. Based off of at least computer projections right now, they will have to overachieve to make the NCAA tournament. Pitt is not in the top 25-1, as I'm sure you could have guessed. They're 78th at Torvik with a totally remade roster. 10 different people scored points for Pitt last season. Only one of them is back. Makari Moore, who's a 6'3" guard, he averaged 1.4 points per game. Pitt is returning 1.4 points per game, which
well,
honestly,
maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, from a 13-win team, you know? So maybe that's exactly what they needed to do. They signed 2 4-star recruits. Chase Foster is a 6'9" or 6'8" forward who's ranked 39th in the class of 2026. They don't have any top 50 transfers. The highest rated transfer is Bayan Dongo from Georgia Tech, originally from Senegal, 63rd in the transfer rankings, 24/7 Sports, 11.8 points, 8.1 rebounds last season, again, at Georgia Tech. He's the only top 100 transfer at Pitt. Nathan George also comes over from Syracuse. He's a 6'3" point guard, 11 points per game last season, 5.4 assists. So the top 2 transfers are double-digit scores from fellow ACC programs. But again, to try to be in contention for an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament, you're going to need to be top 50 in most of the computers. And that means that, at least according to the Torvik computer, Pitt is going to have to overachieve. But we see it now more regularly than we used to. It's pretty normal to have totally remade rosters. And yeah, sometimes they are good. Sometimes they are surprisingly good. And if you're Jeff or a Pitt fan, that's what you're hoping for here.
They have Jaleel Bethea as well, who was at Alabama. He's a former 5-star prospect. Quite clearly, you hope that he can find his stride and pop. He's a guard. Maybe they can get something there. But yes, there's a variety of different, I'm obviously pulling up the roster here and the transfers they've got coming in. They've got a player who averaged 16 a game at a D2 school. Another guy, Alan Sumler, who averaged, 19 at Charleston Southern. We wait and see. And Dongo probably, I guess, would be their best player. Nathan George, we'll see what they can do there. But the roster overall, right, it's not going to inspire anyone to put this team in a preseason top 30, top 40 position. I will say this as we continue to talk about Pitt. This is why I like doing the auction episodes, because I like having to think about and talk about a team like Pitt fans. I hope this is not the case for you, but it is a realistic possibility that for this upcoming season, we don't find reason to talk about your team due to lack of relevancy, quite literally until or if we're talking about a hot seat situation entering into the month of March. Would love if that's not the case, but at least we give the fans an opportunity here to focus in on your school out of a desire to have someone talk about you because you haven't been good, to just get a little bit of a boost or a bump in the offseason. So I like the auction episode specifically for why we're doing this here. I understand that Pitt has not been a relevant team, as GP said, one tournament run in the past decade here. Can we get it going? We don't even need to walk down the lane of everything with Jamie. We've done that here and there on the show over the past 4 or 5 years, and understandably so. But that is an area of the country and that program, that city, that venue. When Jamie did have it going there, that was like if we had done a Candid Coaches, the alternate universe GP. If we had gone back to 2008 and done a Candid Coaches, hey, give us your top 5 student environments in college basketball, and we had tallied everything up and gotten a top 10, Pitt would have been in the top 10.
That was great.
There was a time when it was that kind of place. That is long since faded. The zoo has been waiting to have reason to really show up and show out again, because they even built the facility to look well on TV when they're really, really good. We keep waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And Pitt, unfortunately, is another victim of conference realignment where it made changes for one reason. Now basketball has suffered as a result. And we're just sitting here kind of looking around, sitting on our hands waiting. Okay, when is Pitt actually going to be worth talking about yet again? We're not overly optimistic it can be this upcoming season, but there's surprises every year. And so if you're Jeff Capel and you're up against it, why not Pitt? Why can't Pitt be a top 10 team in the ACC? You're top 10 in the ACC, you're in the tournament discussion. That is how it's going to be moving forward. So we wait to see if they can do that. One last thing here, GP, before we throw whatever questions else was sent in. If you just kind of go and look at what they've done and what they haven't done in recent years, another problem with Pitt is that they don't play an up-tempo style. They haven't been winning a lot. They don't have a lot of dynamism with their actual offense. They're rarely good from beyond the arc. They're not efficient offensively, and they're not looking to get up and down the floor. So it's also just, in addition to losing, which is frustrating on its own, Capel has not instituted even an offense that on a month-by-month basis over the past 6, 7, 8 years has been something that's even enjoyable to watch. They've kind of been a slog in the big picture.
On the Peterson Events Center, like I was there for a game when Jamie had it rocking and rolling, and it was terrific. Just an excellent college basketball venue that hasn't looked that way in a minute. And honestly, the program has struggled, broadly speaking, since Jamie left for TCU, more specifically, since Pitt lowered Jamie Dixon's buyout to allow him to go to TCU, which is one of the colossal mistakes in college coaching stuff in, this century, at least in the men's basketball side. I think I remember having this conversation with somebody there because, and maybe they've changed it in recent years, but there was a time where if you watched a Pitt basketball game on television, the student section wasn't visible from the main camera shot. It was on the other side of the court. And I remember being there and asking somebody like, you guys have an amazing student section, but television doesn't pick it up the way it normally does, like Cameron Indoor, with this shot that goes this way and this way. And I was told it was done on purpose, that they were, when they built the arena, they did not necessarily know if they would have a great student section because they hadn't previously. And it was like, yeah, let's keep that off of TV because, it might not look so great. And then it becomes one of the great student sections. Ben got it going. Jamie kept it going. And then it's been a little bit of a rough go. We'll see if Jeff can get it back in this year. Shane sent some more questions. Let's just talk through them and we'll get out of here.
Right.
He asks, does Pitt have a chance to finish in the top 8 of the conference, given how top heavy the ACC is? So let's look at some numbers.
Okay.
I already told you they're 78th at Torvik. That equals 12th in the ACC in the preseason. 8th is North Carolina at 44. So at least according to Torvik, you got to be basically top 45 to be top 8 in the ACC. And I think if you're top 45 out of the ACC, you probably are at least in the bubble conference. Yeah, you're in the bubble
that's
conference.
76 teams.
Yeah.
If you're a top 45 team, I don't see how you don't get into the tournament. It feels almost statistically impossible moving forward.
Okay, so can they do it? I can envision it just because it's a whole new team and who knows, but it won't be projected that way by most.
All right, I'll just reel off the top of my head. Pitt's not going to be better than Duke. It's not going to be better than Louisville. It's not going to be better than Virginia. It's not going to be better than Miami. I don't think it will be better than North Carolina. And then you get into this. I understand the nature of the question, why it's being asked there. And then you get into the realm of the unknown. Clemson going to be single-digit seed good again? We wait and see. NC State made the tournament last year. Will it do so in year one under Justin Gainey? We wait and see. SMU squeaked in. How good will SMU be? How about this? Asking, can Pitt finish in the top half of the ACC? My percentage to that for next season, I'd say 25%. I think 25% is a fair. It's not likely. It's a 1 in 4 chance, though. It's not nothing. But there's enough. Like once you get past top 6 territory into that specifically that 7-8 range, maybe you can worm your way in there. But there's going to be there are going to be teams that rise within that context, and who knows how this ever goes. Like Boston College, we think will be better in year one under Luke Murray. Georgia Tech, we think will be better. Georgia Tech was the worst team in the league last year. Pitt was 3 games better than them a year ago. So I don't know, 25%. You generally agree, or are you a little less optimistic?
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhere like that. Like I would, maybe this is too vague, but I would say it's definitely possible, but I would label it unlikely. But I can imagine it, but I wouldn't bet on it. If you care, Torvik's got the top 7, then 8th UNC, 9th SMU, 10th Syracuse, 11th Florida State, then Pitt coming in at number 12. Shane asked if Jeff Capel, let's just talk this through. Let's say they finish 12th in the ACC, 78th in the country, missed the NCAA tournament, and there is a coaching change at Pitt. Shane wants to know what you would think of bringing an alum back like Brandon Knight, who is now the associate head coach at Rutgers.
That is a route that I could see. It wouldn't surprise me. I understand why you would do that. Kind of want to see how Rutgers is this season as well. Obviously, like, it's his alum, so in a certain regard, like if he wants, you got to figure that he would interview for the job, GP, and then have a halfway decent chance. But if Rutgers is bad again, which Rutgers might be bad again, and Knight's been he's been Pikel's right hand man. We see on that. If I'm, and I know you agree with this, if I'm Pitt, I want, like, I'm trying to flash forward. If they get to a situation where they got to make a coaching change, which is obviously going to be on the table, you need to bring in someone who is ambitious, wired, nimble. It would certainly help to know what their financial situation would be, but just within the own conference, and this was an alum situation, like Luke Laux at Florida State. I actually think Florida State's going to probably be a top 8 team in the ACC this season, and he has not had a lot to work with from a financial and NIL standpoint in the past 2 cycles since he's had the job. He went into the job eyes wide open. He knew the deal, though. But he has had a lot of creativity, and it actually been from a coaching standpoint, albeit he's super young, and I'm not going to say his coaching reputation is like high end, because it's not yet, but guys who know Luke think that he's got a really, really promising future if he wants to in college basketball for the next 5, 10, 15 years, etc. You need someone in that kind of mold, in my opinion, because this is a job just within the confines of the league, GP. You've got the heavy hitters, of course, and there is pathway if you can get the right guy to put a flag in the ground, to be a top 6, top 7 year-over-year program. That should be Pitt's goal, but it's going to take the right kind of guy. Knight would be worth a look, obviously. Between now and then, who's to say? It could be any number of coaches. Who we don't need. Like, if George Mason was incredible, Tony Skinn, I could see getting an opportunity there. And then the sliding doors on this, as I mentioned in the past, with all this, we don't have to really harp on it, but I do want to just bring it up for those who aren't Pitt fans and might not realize it is, and I've talked about this before, Dan Hurley was offered more money to take the Pitt job the year that he went to UConn. I talked to Hurley the day before that he picked UConn, and we just kind of went through. He was just like kind of talking through a lot of this stuff as I was waiting to try and get the story, because he hadn't decided. And I remember the fact that Pitt had more money on the table, but Hurley essentially said something to the tune of like, but it's UConn, and UConn is UConn. And ultimately he makes the right choice, and happily ever after. And there you go. Pitt would not be in the situation if Hurley had chased the money. And who's to say that Hurley would have won a national title at Pitt? I can't even say if that would have been the case. But man, oh man, you were sitting here with a coaching change less than a decade ago, after a couple of misfires, and you were one decision away, and it didn't go your way here. And so they've been kind of chasing it ever since.
On Brandon Knight, he's an obvious candidate, has to be. You got to talk to him at the very least. For people who don't know, he's a former player at Pitt, Big East Co-Player of the Year back in 2002. Also was an assistant at Pitt, now again associate head coach at Rutgers, 44 years old, and the brother of my pal Brevin Knight, who is my golfing buddy down here.
Loved Brevin Knight in college, man. He was no joke, like one of my 10 favorite college players of the 90s.
He's like the best of the best dude too, and a above average golfer. Very, very good. Keeps it in the fairway. He of course is the color analyst on television for the Grizzlies, and we play golf at the same place all the time. So yeah, I'd be thrilled to see Brevin's brother get that opportunity. Like I said, if Pitt is looking for a coach, he's got to be on the very short list of people you at least talk to. Last question from Shane, then we'll get out of here. And you sort of touched on this, but we can expand. He said, it seems to me that Pitt has been hurt as far as results are concerned by leaving the Big East in all sports except women's volleyball. Do you think the university regrets its decision to leave?
First of all, is Shane breaking news to us? So Pitt is still in the Big East in women's volleyball? Is that what I understand here?
Oh, I think the way I interpreted that was women's volleyball is awesome. But
okay,
else
so they're in the ACC and they're just awesome. Gotcha. That would have been like the most random thing ever.
Listen, I got to be honest with you. I don't know a thing about Pitt's women's volleyball program.
You're not breaking news to anyone.
It could not exist. It's unclear to me.
You are totally good. Do they regret the decision? On some level, how can you not? Now, the money that the institution is bringing in on an annual basis is still better than what the Big East programs are doing, thanks to football. And Pitt's had some moments in football. By the way, this is completely coincidental to anyone watching this. I'm just rocking a CBS Sports shirt, and it's got the Pitt gold and the CBS Sports blue here. So that was kismet. How about that, GP? On some level, I did know.
One of the weirdest things, every once in a while you get asked this, like people be like, what's your favorite uniforms? And I think I'm the only person who ever says Pitt, but I love the Pitt uniforms.
Pitt, the Pitt logo, the whole deal. Yeah, they
Everything.
are.
Yes.
The rebrand back to the retro look quite clearly. Like they leaned in. That's what they should be doing there. How do you not regret it on some level? Now, you want to say that you're in a conference that plays football and you've got all the benefits of that. And there has been they have had some really nice seasons in football. I can't deny that. But I don't know. Like I would be interested to hear from Pitt fans where they ultimately land on this, where you've had some success in football here and there, and you've had some good seasons in the ACC, but in basketball, you really have, for the most part, like you just have been irrelevant, and we've been sitting around waiting for it. So I would lean yes, but maybe Pitt fans would say otherwise.
I'm sure some Pitt fans probably regret it. The Pitt administration, I would assume, it's just like not even a topic of conversation. It's like if you're in the Big East and the ACC wants you, you kind of have to go. I mean, you just kind of have to go. And so that doesn't mean it doesn't come with a cost. Two things can be true at the same time. You had to go, but it cost you something. And I think you could probably say the same thing about Boston College. Like, you had to change leagues, but it cost you something.
It cost Boston College the most. I maintain they're the biggest loser of any school that switched conferences. I know we want to wrap, but Josh did, I think, put through the effort of making a graphic here with the non-con games to note. Toss that up on the screen here. I want to learn this in real time. We're not going to project Pitt to make the NCAA tournament, I don't think. But for anyone listening or watching, they've got Penn State and Philly on November 8th. They're at Butler on November 13th. November 17th. Home versus Villanova. I like the intra-Pennsylvania stuff there. They got the Fort Myers tip-off November 24 and 26. I don't have the opponents there. At Mizzou on December 1, and then against West Virginia on December 9. I will say this, looking at that schedule, GP, if I'm a Pitt fan, I like what I've got here. I've got Penn State, I've got Nova, I've got West Virginia. There's some good rivalry and just the proximity of a lot of these opponents. They've got Oklahoma and DePaul in the Fort Myers tip-off, by the way. So they've got enough challenges there. I'll keep up with the bit here as we've been doing with every show. I will blindly say going into the ACC tournament, how about 16-16 for Pitt going into the ACC tournament, 32-game regular season. And then they'd obviously need to, well, maybe they won't need to run the table. Maybe they if you get to the title game and you're 20-16, that quite literally might be enough to get you into the tournament. But I'll say they split it at 500 going into the ACC bracket.
What kind of predicted record do you have for the women's volleyball team at Pitt?
I believe, this is just my volleyball knowledge. Josh definitely didn't text me about it. I believe Pitt women's volleyball is preseason top 5 squad.
Man.
So not having any idea how many games they play in the regular season. Give me a 2 seed for the Lady Panthers. They're with the digging and the spiking and the serving and all that. And listen, you came to learn on some b-ball here. And quite clearly the number one seed in the ACC tournament.
Yeah, number 1 seed in the ACC tournament. That goes without saying. I got Pitt as a 1 seed in women's volleyball. Yeah. Pitt is a 1 seed in women's volleyball, and I'll be for Shane's, just for Shane. Yeah. It is generosity. I'll be rooting hard for the Pitt men's basketball program to, enter the first week of March. Enough on the bubble to give everybody a fighting chance.
That's a show. That's a Shane, and that's a show. We appreciate you bidding and making this episode happen. And for Shane's sake and every Pitt fan watching, I hope we have reason to talk about your team plenty of times this upcoming season.
Me too. Shouts to Devin Downey. Shouts to Chester, South Carolina. Terry Teagle's a legend. Huck, Larnell, Hormuz. Go subscribe to the Iron College Basketball Podcast wherever you subscribe to pods like Apple, Spotify. More of us than there are of them. That's got to be reflected in the comments. So do that. We'll talk to you again real soon. Till then, take care.